Hey guys, this is Daniel with PwnCNC and we're here to put together Dust Boot version 7. Stick with me. Okay, here we are with all the components. In your package you should find a maglock ring, a little adapter for the ring, a couple of M3 by 10 millimeter screws, the brush track of the size boot you purchased, as well as an acrylic track. The magnets will be embedded already, but the acrylic paper will still be on there. A collar for for the specified collar you purchased. Three, I believe these are M5 by 20 millimeters, I believe. 3 of these button head screws. You'll find a longer, if you've purchased one of the smaller size boots, you'll get a 40 millimeter. 69 or 65 millimeter collars, you'll get a 40 millimeter M5 screw, or if you purchase one of the larger ones with the 80 millimeters, I believe it's 50 millimeters for a screw, as well as one of the aluminum handles and the pieces needed for that. Then let's see, you'll get your brush of the appropriate length for your size boot. That's everything that's included. There is an add-on on the order page where you can either add on the round adapter. You do need an adapter for this. This is maglock connected, so you need one of the maglock adapters that are available. They are discounted in the kit, but I list them as an add-on because you could just purchase the boot if you've already got one of these male adapters here. This is the round one. It does come with the ring and a round adapter. This is 2.5 inch. I believe this matches my 2.5 inch boot adapter. So if you need something equivalent, that's it. If you'd rather, other options in the list include a 2.5 inch boot converter. This comes with a ring and a converter piece, and it may or may not include the hose adapter. It was your choice. Obviously you can get the converter cheaper if you've already got one of these squared off PwnCNC connect hose adapters. And of course I have a variety. All of these are listed on the page. 6 different options available depending on the hose extraction system that you use. All of those plug into the converter. The converter plugs into the boot, plugs right in. So let's jump into actually putting together our boot. A couple of things you will need. You will need a 3 millimeter hex driver, a 2 millimeter hex driver, and some super glue, and a little patience. The patience, of course, is waiting for the glue to dry. But by doing this, I'm able to lower the price of the entire boot. So yeah, let's zoom in a little closer and we'll jump right into construction. Okay, here we are with the couple of adapters. So first I've got let's say you come with the round adapter here. We're going to glue a couple things together. We're going to get the little coupler here, the adapter for the boot, a maglock ring, another maglock ring, and the round adapter. This is an add-on just in case you didn't order it. But we're going to take some super glue. This is just a Gorilla super glue, the gel kind. Put all that glue down towards the tip. And we're going to take one of the maglock rings and we're going to generously add it on there. Okay. Then we're going to take our round adapter here and we're going to slide it right on there. Now with the round adapter, there's no real good orientation. I mean, it's round, so long as you get it glued on, that's literally the most important thing. Now just set it down on the bottom, push down with some force, and you should be good. Some of the glue may seep out of the edges. You can go ahead and clean that up with a paper towel. Let me grab one of those now. But it's perfectly fine if that happens. Just just means you know that glue's been, has reached all of the areas that you want it to. So we're going to, once you get that glued up, just set that aside to let that dry up and get really nice and solid. I believe it takes 30 minutes for the stuff that I'm using here. 10 to 15 seconds, and then I'm not seeing a fully cured. I'll probably have to open up the label to get more information, but looks like 10 to 15 seconds, and that should be good, or 10 to 45 seconds. So we're going to take our boot coupler here, and it's got a couple of holes down here. There's two little pieces. It's maybe hard to see on the screen here, but two little notches there. What we're going to do, the alignment of this, of the ring itself, should match up perfectly. So you've got your two notches up here at the top, and we're going to want to align it where two of the, there it goes, two of the, there we go, that's a little better. Two of the notches line up with two of the magnets, and they're kind of aligned in there. That way the two outer magnets here are on either side of the boot. Just line them up with these two pieces here. But first, of course, we're going to need some glue. So I'm going to, put some generous amount of glue on there. Super glue does a really great job just in case you accidentally break or damage one of the parts. Does a really good job on 3D printed parts. It seems to chemically sort of melt it down and provides a really good bond. So we've got our parts. I'm going to go ahead and set it down here and look straight down and try to line that up so that it's lined up really well. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to lift it up and squeeze. Of course, again, some of the glue may come out. So grab a paper towel and wipe the inside there. There we go. Just make sure that's all lined up. Alignment is really important here because once it is glued, it is and sets, it's not moving. So there we go. Got it all lined up with the three pieces there. And I'm going to set that over to the side and let that dry as well. Next up, we're going to work on the plate. So we're going to take the acrylic plate with the magnets on the bottom. We're going to take, actually, let's jump over, let's do our collar first. So our collar is actually really easy. We're going to take the handle here. This is a cam locked style handle. So there's the handle itself. You've got a little piece that slides right in between there. And then of course you've got a little coupler here which allows it to twist on and press up against and hold into place. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our collar, and from the back side of the collar, so you got three holes here. This is the front. We're going to take our long screw here, drop it right through into place. We're going to take our little slidey piece, put the metal end towards the plastic. There's the black plastic end side here does have an indentation for the cam piece. So we're going to take our cam handle, and I'm going to line up that threading so that I can easily start threading it. I'm going to hold it back here and start sliding it together. So just start twisting that together. Twist, twist, twist. If you ever need to get a tighter hold on your collar or on your router, you can just twist that just like I'm doing here. I'm holding this back screw here. But once that starts twisting in the right way, the indentation on this washer piece here, the black side, it will sort of line up and start turning with the handle. So what this does basically is you've got your screw here. If you don't know, the router sits right inside here. The handle puts pressure on this and squeezes these two plastic pieces together. Now I've provided a couple millimeters here, so there should be plenty of travel, and the ring, depending on the one you ordered, either the 65, 69, or the 80, will be just slightly larger than that, like just a half millimeter. So it'll be a nice tight fit whenever you slide it on. And then of course, whenever you go to tighten it down, that should give 2 millimeters. You should have plenty of ability to tighten that down and hold it. Even if it starts to loosen up on you, you should just be able to, twist that around, turn that handle a bit more and get a tighter hold on that. So now that we have that, we're going to set that aside for a second, and we're going to pull our plate out now. And of course, with our magnets on this side. Now, we have our acrylic piece, magnets toward the bottom. These magnets are glued in, so if you find that they come off on you or something like that, just add a touch of super glue right back into the hole and attach the magnet to your brush track, and then push it back together. Now there's a little trick to putting this together. It makes perfect sense once it's actually on the machine, how you put this brush track on. I'll show you that after we get it assembled. So we take our collar with the magnets pointing up, the collar pointing down like this. You'll notice that these 3 holes line up, and that's where you take these M5 by 20 millimeter screws and your 3 millimeter hex wrench. You can use some Loctite if you need to. Inside here, just beyond the heat insert, so the heat insert's right up there on the face. Just behind the heat insert, the hole does shrink a little so that it can grab a hold of and kind of provide a mechanism for preventing the screw from reversing. However, if you really want to, you can use some of that blue Loctite. Yeah, if you want that little bit of extra security. These are pretty large screws, and you would definitely notice it if one of them started to back out long before it actually fell off into the bit, which of course would be a catastrophe, so don't let it do that. But yeah, a little bit of Loctite should be perfectly fine, although again, you'll notice I'm putting a little bit of force here to push those screws down into that plastic, that smaller hole down behind the heat insert. So there we go. Now we've got our collar onto our plate, and of course now we're ready to move on to our next step, which is our boot adapter part, right? So I didn't let this set for very long. It has been a little over 45 seconds, so these should be pretty solid. I'm not going to do a lot of moving. It is behind. The glue is between 2 parts, so the air doesn't get in there quite as well. So the 45 seconds that it's talking about on the bottle typically relates to whenever it's exposed to air. So since these 2 parts have not been exposed to air, we don't really want to move these around yet. But I do see a little bit more glue that kind of creeped out there, so I'm going to grab that. Now we're going to take these 2, and you'll notice that these 2 bottom notches here line up with the 2 notches that are right here in the boot. So just drop that right into place. It may take a little pressure to push that in all the way because it is a tight fit on purpose, but press that in and you'll notice that the 2 holes down here perfectly line up or perfectly get exposed and are nice and flush with the bottom of the acrylic. You could take your 2 millimeter hex driver, and you are threading into plastic, so be patient with this. Don't use a driver of some sort. Be sure you hand tighten these into place. Go. Oop, looks like I got a little bit of glue on my finger here. Now the holes are chamfered, so they're really nice and loose at first, and as you get deeper, it starts to get tighter. There we go. And we'll get the next one in. Now we are almost done with the top half of our boot. All right, there we go. So we have the 2 screws, they're holding the adapter part. We've got 3 screws holding our collar part. And now this assembly here is ready to go onto your router. So yeah, that is ready to go. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to take the brush track now, and this is where we are going to sort of work through the brush, right? So we're going to take our brush track and our brush, and we're going to get this on there. So the brush track should be pretty even all the way across. It is slightly wider on the ends because of the curve, but you take your brush here, set it into the track. I usually start right at the end here. This is the back of the boot. So if I mess up whenever I'm cutting it short, you know, if I cut it too short and there's a tiny little gap there on the end, it doesn't matter. But I'm going to bend the brush around as I work this in. It may get tight in some areas. You may need to take a little bit of a box cutter or something and sort of shave the edge of the boot, or I'm sorry, the brush seat as it's sitting down into the track. But yeah, once you do that, then you come back around and you'll notice that I believe I've already cut this one perfect. So once you get to this point, take a little cutter, a wire snips or something, and then kind of snip it short so that it lines up perfectly and doesn't overhang, because obviously if you overhang it, it won't go in. There we go. Now, this is where I can take, you know, my hex driver or something like that, and my small one, and then I can kind of go back along the brush and help better seat that brush into place. You don't want the brush to be popping out on you during a cut, but so pressing it in will definitely help with that. There we go. So now our brush track is all ready to go, and of course we have our boot assembly. Now, we have, let's say you've got this mounted onto your spindle here, right? And you've got it tightened up. Again, if you loosen this handle, put it onto your spindle, tighten this handle. The act of closing this handle, the cam lock being that it's off center, it will squeeze this together, so it'll provide a really tight hold on that router. But once you have this on the router, you take the brush track with the thin part towards the back and just kind of loop it. You'll notice that the brush track has got a couple of loops here at the end, and they line up with these loops right here. And the idea is, once you got it up there, just kind of grab the end of that loop there, and then, oh, looks like this is brand new, so there it goes. As it gets a little loose and you work on that, you know, multiple times and that sort of thing, it should easily pop on and off just by looping that back in there. At least that's what happened on my test machine, my prototype, whenever I was working on that and designing that little loop experience, right? So whenever you're pulling it off from your machine, you want to take both your thumbs here, and the plastic here sits up above the acrylic just a tiny bit, right? And what you're going to want to do is take downward force to separate the plastic from the acrylic, right? So as you're pushing down on both sides, the brush track will just pop right off. The other thing, another nice tip you can have is, let me grab it here. So you are working, your machine's running, you're wanting to see exactly what that bit's doing just to make sure it's doing everything it's supposed to be doing. You could take a flashlight or some sort and turn it on and just kind of shine it down one side like this, and then you can look down the other to see exactly what the bit's doing. Now, of course, you've got a hose sticking up here, and of course, your router is sticking right there. So sticking this light in sideways like this will let you see down the other side to see exactly what the bit is doing. It has been suggested that I provide provide an accessory for an LED light or something like that. I am looking into that because that would be really neat, just to put a little LED light right here that you can walk up to and either flip it on or something, so you could just keep an eye on what's going on down there in the bit. So yeah, once you have all of it set together, take your hose. If you've got one of the round ones, just take a band, attach your hose. This fits perfectly onto the UltraFlex 2.5-inch hose. The 4-inch round one works great with the 4-inch version of the UltraFlex hose. Just take a band clamp and band clamp that right onto there, and then you can take your hose and just drop it right down into place. Now remember, this is the maglock system, so if it doesn't want to go in, if the magnets are opposing each other, just turn it like 20 degrees or something, and it will snap right into place. All right, hope you guys enjoyed the assembly. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Like and subscribe, do all that stuff. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I look forward to hearing what you think. And remember, don't just own your CNC, dominate it.